Hi, welcome to the Indie Wine Podcast. My name is Matt Wood, and this is episode 78. Today I'm talking with Christopher Renfro of the 280 Project and Friend of a Friend Wine Shop. This conversation has been a long time coming, but we finally made it happen and had a great discussion about the history of the 280 Project and where it's going, San Francisco, the Bay Area, and vineyards in Napa and Sonoma. Christopher also lets us know how anyone can help the project. A reminder that I have a Patreon at patreon.com/IndieWinePodcast. The link is in the show notes too. If you're enjoying the podcast, any amount to help me keep telling wine stories ad-free and available for everyone is appreciated. It's all run independent and out of pocket. Telling a friend or sharing on social media are great ways to help out too. I know I say that little blurb every episode, but if you do have a few extra bucks, send them to the 280 Project. Here we go.
Hello.
I think probably a lot of people kind of know of you. I mean, you've had features in the New York Times and all of that. But do you want to give just a little background on yourself and 280 Project and just for anybody that might not be familiar?
Yeah, my name is Christopher Renfro, he, him, co-founder of 280 Project, which is a viticulture and enology apprenticeship program, nonprofit based in San Francisco, California. We aim to bring as many people that identify as marginalized into the wine industry and just, that's about it.
Yeah.
Offering space.
What was the impetus to get it started? I mean, what made you finally take the jump to get 280 Project started?
I mean, starting 280 felt like it was something out of a necessity. During the pandemic, beginning part of the pandemic, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, both lost their lives. And I had luckily acquired this vineyard in San Francisco December 2019. So it was just the right time before the world shut down in March. And being able to steward this small, tiny Pinot vineyard in the middle of San Francisco next to low-income housing kind of was a surreal feeling of this is what I should be using this vineyard space for. I'd always wanted to be in Napa, own land myself, and then finally I had a chance to be able to do kind of part of my dream. So I thought, I should offer space for people that usually don't get to be in viticulture or winemaking settings. So that's kind of where the idea came from. The vineyard is off the 280 freeway at a place called Alemany Farm, which is a public park, SF Public Parks. And it's next to Alemany Apartments, which are low-income housing or projects. So 280 Project, and then it's also a project of learning. Every year that I'm working with the apprentices, I'm learning alongside with them. So
do you think it meant either more or kind of hit different that it was here in the city instead of Napa?
Yeah, I mean, the goal has always been to get to wine country, but I always, for years, thought that Napa was hours away. So being in San Francisco, I was on lots of community garden, waiting lists and stuff like that. I've always been interested in growing plants in the city and urban environments. And you can sit on those lists for years. People just don't share their plots. Or the city doesn't regulate them well enough to where you can ever get a spot. So when the opportunity came to grow grapes in the city, I felt like it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be able to do something like this.
Yeah.
Vines that had already been established, and then the opportunity to potentially plant more. So, it was pretty special. And, the person that had originally planted the vineyard, I always wondered how they could give up something like that. So I don't know. I took it and I was I'm going to try and turn this into the biggest thing that's ever happened for myself personally. And use it as a pivot in my life, but also to help others.
Have you been able to plant more at the vineyard?
Yeah. So, I mean, every year I've been battling. It originally was planted with Pinot, a bunch of different clones. But Matt Neese, who's been on your podcast, brought me my first hybrids. I don't think any of those are still growing, sadly, because the second year after they were planted, someone turned off the irrigation.
Okay.
So they were established, they were growing well, and then someone turned off the irrigation for a few weeks, and I didn't know.
Okay.
And that kind of killed a majority of the hillside that we had started. And then in the back of the original Pinot vineyard, there are hybrids growing there. There are some other weird wild species things that are growing there that I've found in Texas. And then in the Pinot vineyard, I have a Rogers Red wild grape, and then a Concord vine, and then this Vitis puperia. So the goal is to try one more year with the Pinot. Deirdre Hinken came out, saw the vineyard, and told me I should try and use horsetail to spray for powdery mildew. But if it doesn't work this year, I'm gonna go ahead and probably rip it completely out or just graft over. Grafting would be the smartest thing, but I don't know where to get like budwood right now for the things that I want to work with, unless it's like all wild species.
Okay.
Yeah.
You interested in doing wild or hybrids or?
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I feel like Alameini should be 100% hybrid and wild species vines. So it's a public park, so I can't spray sulfur. I would really prefer not to spray sulfur. That's kind of like the goal for me, is to work with vines that I don't have to use that organic medium. Just because if people can't be in vineyards, I think about birds, other pollinators, rabbits, deer, anything else like coming into contact and potentially having their eyes burned or throat burned or whatever reactions they have to it. So, plus the different flavor profiles and other pest resistance that those things have, and drought resistance, tolerance to like frost, stuff like that. Even though the city doesn't really get that cold, but I don't know. It's cool to work with stuff that's been developed to fight some of the common problems that require too much extra maintenance in a vineyard.
Yeah, and I guess San Francisco's kind of a unique place to grow them. I mean, fog and there's not a lot of vineyards in San Francisco.
No, and then the temperature thing too, where the farm is, it's like a bowl. So it's like this perfect temperature of like 70 some degrees to like 80 all the time.
Okay.
The wind does pick up on the hillside, but like the lower vineyard can be pretty chill and like stagnant a lot of the time. So this year finally laid the vines down, and they're going to try and like use like vertical shoot positioning and see how that does, create more airflow, try the silica, see if that works. And then, but I've made wine from it 1 year successfully, 2 years.
Okay.
Every other year, it's been like just shattered by powdery mildew.
Okay. Yeah. You make a rosé from it, or?
I made 100% just like a regular Pinot.
Oh, okay.
The rosé we were making came from Filoli fruit.
Right.
From the hybrid collection that I was stewarding for a while.
Yeah. Well, that wine from Filoli, that seemed like a big step to have, I guess, something that people can kind of like hold in their hands. And I guess you kind of made that with Matt.
Yeah. So just to clarify, I would grow the grapes. Matt would make the wine and allow us to sell it under the North American Press label for fundraising for 280 Project. So such an amazing opportunity to be able to, literally bring something to market that most people haven't seen on the West Coast. I feel very thankful that we've been able to do that. But right now we haven't been able to work with that farm in a while. So
how did that kind of come to fruition, working with Filoli, and then why are you not working with it anymore?
It literally happened just being right place, right time. I went to a friend, one of my mentors, Eric Tennyson. I went to drop him off a bottle of wine at Alamo Square, where the neighborhood where I first lived in San Francisco. It was his birthday. I dropped him a bottle of like a skin contact Chardonnay, or Malvasia that I made, a Malvasia. And I took it to him up at the very top. He was sitting with a woman named Kate, who was, I forget her role at Filoli at the time, but she managed like the orchards,
Okay.
the vineyard, other like fruit on the property and other trees. But Kate tasted the wine. Eric texted me and was like, "Hey, do you mind if I give your contacts to this woman, Kate? She's super interested in like seeing if you want to see something." So he did that, and she hit me up and was like, "Hey, do you want to see this weird collection of grapes that I have at Filoli?" And I'd been to Filoli probably 10 years prior when I was in school for horticulture.
Okay.
At City College in San Francisco. My professor, Malcolm Hillen, took me there, and I was kind of like blown away, but I never knew they had a vineyard on the property. I saw all the espalier trees and other cool things that they had with like weird pollarding and stuff like that. But yeah, so I got to Filoli, and that was probably 2022, something like that.
Okay.
2021, 2022. And yeah, it was nuts. The moment I got there, I saw that all of the vines were identified and labeled, and they all said Vitis hybrid. And
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they had been making jelly with them for the last like 30, 40 years.
Wow, that long. Okay.
Yeah, and I think they just thought they were all table grapes.
Mm-hmm.
So a man named Todd Kennedy basically brought this collection. I think it was like a large collection from Cornell and some other places.
Okay.
Yeah, he had them and then planted them in the like 90s, something like that. So they had just been using them for, nothing.
Yeah.
And then we were able to take over, start caring for the vineyard. And luckily, Matt was open to creating this wine. But sadly, I think, enough recognition and word got out. And, Eric Asimov came from the New York Times, and that's kind of where everything changed, where the operations manager and, the CEO kind of seemed a little bit upset that I had brought Eric or was bringing him. And, I did give them late notice, but I had literally been operating that way for years, where I would just be like, "Hey, do you mind if I bring a friend? Do you mind if I bring someone to show, a reporter or anybody?" And this time it was like a different feeling, where they kind of shadowed us the entire time and had this whole idea of like giving a history of the property and things. And, I pretty much knew the entire history of the space, but I don't know. From that moment on, they then tried to implement like a contract to MOU where, we couldn't really afford the insurance and some other things. And, we were happy to share wine with them and like be able to sell wine in the gift shop. But I don't know. It felt really weird that we had kind of taken something that was being neglected, turned it into something that people from all over the country and the world and in the wine industry knew about. Yeah. And then they felt like they wanted to pull back in a certain way. I think that they were worried that Eric was maybe going to write about something that like, maybe their lack of understanding for what they had in front of them. Okay. But I don't know. For me, I thought it was like an incredible partnership to be able to just show how everybody has a different perspective and like looks at things different, And for me, I saw this vineyard as probably one of the rarest things in California, if not many vineyards in the country, So it was a collection of like 127 different varieties of hybrids that are all cataloged, and it's cool. It's really special place, and I luckily have a bunch of cuttings that are going into the ground this year from growing in a greenhouse to a lath house for the last like 2 years.
Oh, very
at
cool.
Alamany. So there's still remnants of Filoli at Alamany now. So
it's great. You can keep a little bit of it alive, or kind of, I guess, have it involved still in that way, even if it's different. I mean, it's unfortunate that the tone and structure changed, obviously.
Well, and the goal was for me to eventually try and propagate or to plant more hybrids on the property, like to plant a larger commercial scale vineyard on Filoli property, because it's 650 acres of property.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that large.
Yeah, I mean, massive. And they have a lot of underplanted spaces. So, and it didn't have to be that huge, but if we could get a larger production of it, that was the goal, is to try and build something like that. I've always wanted to plant like a hybrid vineyard for the public to see, a wild species vineyard, somewhat of like a botanical garden
Hmm.
of vines, of viticulture, so people can walk through, see all the like ampelography, taste grapes during certain parts of the harvest season,
Mm-hmm.
just see how different grapes grow, how different trellising systems work, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't know, maybe we'll get back there someday.
Yeah. Tell me some about kind of the teaching aspect of 280 Project and helping marginalized
Yeah.
people kind of learn more about vines and the wine industry and how that teaching component works into it.
Yeah, so I mean, first big shout out to Rita Manzana, who is 280's project manager. Sadly, she couldn't be here today. She's either in the Philippines or Japan right now. But yeah, Rita is really a big part of helping secure a lot of like the places we go and visit, a lot of the site visits and things like that, which takes a lot of work with coordinating. Steve Mathiasen, big thanks. Beth Forrestrell at UC Davis. So yeah, all of us kind of use our industry connections to bring different aspects of what everyone's doing, different viticulturalists, different winemakers. Yeah, Steve, for the last couple of years, has been teaching like an organic wine seminar, starting literally from bud break all the way to harvest, and just talking about what is organic farming, IPM, integrated pest management, irrigation, all kinds of stuff. Like at Davis, we are able to, my favorite things are to go through the wild species, Wolfskill Vineyard. We get to learn with Beth's students who are part of the organic seminar, and then they help with certain other projects that we do. Who else? Yeah, and then like the apprenticeship is 6 months long, and we basically visit a different vineyard, different winery, other different seminars throughout the year and throughout the grape season. And it's pretty, hands-on. Last year, it wasn't as hands-on as we wanted, just because, life happens and people get busy. But the goal is always to teach people, there's like book stuff they learn, but then like the hands-on part is what I think is also super important about growing grapes, making wine, getting to actually just immerse yourself and throw yourself into it. I think it kind of makes people not afraid. As soon as they've done it and they get to do it a couple of times, then they realize that they can do something that most people kind of act like is like super impossible. And, I think it's really awesome that Davis allows us to be in that facility around students who have been doing this for a while, but then Steve offers his expertise, and the other people that host us all offer their own expertise and their perspectives on the industry and why they do certain things a certain way. So it's pretty free flowing. Alemany is kind of the hub for the project. So everything we kind of learn in these places, we bring back to Alemany and try and implement at the vineyard in the city.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. And then we make wine up at Davis. And, this year, Steve passed down a vineyard in Rutherford that we're taking over. So the apprenticeship is going to be up there. We'll be up there next week doing shoot thinning and, just keep going from there.
Okay. Very cool. How does it feel to have a place to work out of in Napa? I mean,
it's been the dream.
Yeah.
It's cool. I've been saying it for like 4 or 5 years, and now it's actually come to fruition. And, I think the next goal is how do we get 100% American vineyard up there?
Okay.
Like a wild species in Napa would be sick. A hybrid vineyard in Napa would be awesome. Yeah, I think that would be the next steps of showcasing what different people can do within the industry and offering different opportunities and different, different products that are in the same market.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that that's a huge part of like helping with, I guess, the slowdown in wine purchasing and wine movement is maybe we need a different product in front of people.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
that, just diversification in the product and the
Yeah.
people
Mhm.
also.
That's a huge thing that I'm focused on. I think that's like also part of 280 is what does diversity actually look like, and how can that make a difference in an industry that's been the same thing for so long?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, people really need to open their minds to trying to change. And I feel like they would see huge, huge impact financially in creating space for others that don't look just like them
Mm-hmm.
and maybe come from different backgrounds or have different palates, love different types of food,
Yeah.
you know. But then I think also for me, like the wild species and hybrid stuff, like I was saying, like not spraying, I feel like is something that I'm really interested in seeing how that would affect Napa farming and the cost effect and also the labor effect.
Mm.
And yeah, just what does it look like to have a healthier vineyard without having to use certain implements?
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the enticing part of having a sort of hybrids or American grapes in
Yeah.
Napa for you, is that.
Well, it's cool. It's like at Alamany, I literally can't spray sulfur because it's a public park. So people, and now that I say it, like I was thinking about this a minute ago, but like, so there's the little tiny vineyard in the middle of Paris, Montmartre.
Hmm.
And it makes me wonder, how do they do that? Like if they spray sulfur,
Yeah.
because it's
I
in the
don't know,
middle of
that's
the
another,
city.
yeah, it's a humid place
Yeah.
too.
Well, and it's like Pinot and I think Gamay and some other things. So I wonder how they do that. I wonder if they're using like biodynamic sprays or anything like that, or if they just spray sulfur and then tell people to stay out, or if they don't tell people to
Right.
stay out, Yeah, how does that work with people's windows being open, or
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that if I can do that at Alamany, it's a good test site to show maybe we can do something similar up north,
Mhm.
because it's cool. It's like Filoli was amazing. I truly didn't have to do that much.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we would like shoot thin, do leafing, some other stuff, but that was about it. It was like cover cropping and just checking on vines from here and there, and like, yeah, thinning fruit every now and then. But yeah, like not spraying was like a huge weight off my back,
Yeah.
and not having to be there all the time and worrying about like a crop being damaged because you like were out of town or something else, or you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
What is planted at that Rutherford vineyard?
if I can remember, it is Cabernet, Chardonnay, Syrah, I think Petit Verdot, Mourvedre, Greco de Tufo. I think, and Grenache,
Okay.
if I didn't say that already. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Steve planted it 15 years ago.
So all Vitis vinifera, but pretty, maybe a little more varied
Yeah.
than your average Napa vineyard.
Yeah. And what's cool is like Steve's team is actually going to handle the spraying. So we don't have to be up there all the time doing that part.
Okay.
And that's super helpful. And then we'll get to make wine from it. But what the really cool thing about that site is like the owners, Steve told them about what the project is, what 280 is. And they're like pretty old. I think they're like 80 or something like that.
Okay.
But the guy, I think he was like a lawyer in finance or something. And, after he retired, he's been specifically working to help like Black community, like raise funds and how to like build generational wealth and some other things.
Okay.
So it's kind of very aligned the way it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm super stoked. I like everything that's planted there, but I kind of like the relationship more, and I'd love to see how far that goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's sounds like a interesting relationship that could be good for everybody, hopefully.
Well, and they're super kind. It's cool when you meet, older white people in a place like Napa that are truly trying to be um, just normal.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that word in like any weird or negative way, but like they just understand how to be on the right side of being human,
Yeah.
which is awesome. And it feels really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. How has your vision for the 280 project kind of evolved in the last 5 years or so since you started it?
I mean, yeah. You know what's funny is I think I said everything when I first started exactly what I wanted to do. Like
Okay.
for me, I think the opportunity to create 280 was so many missed positions in wine that people think that they can't apply for,
Mm.
and just the idea of like vertical integration within like a type of business. So for me, like when I first thought of it, I was like, wait, people do everything from label design to compliance and marketing and PR, all the way to education to the viticulture to the winemaking to equipment sales to everything,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, so I think the evolution of it is kind of just kept on track with what the original idea was. And, with Rita's help, kind of thinking more about expanding into other parts of the world and other parts of the country. And um, for me, I think some of the part that I really want to evolve is like, how do we do like brand partnerships?
Mm. Okay.
How could we get like a 280 shoe out or work with, I say this all the time, but like Rivian, how could we get like a partnership with Rivian so we could have a van that takes all the apprentices up north together?
Mm.
And, I have this like weird dream about getting Rivian to want to, maybe become a vehicle that helps stop diesel usage in vineyards and wineries with
Mm-hmm.
electric EVs. And what else, I think the evolution of it has also helped me think about like other kind of like side projects within it around education and photography and stuff, and documenting the whole project and how do you weave art into it. And um, one of our apprentices last year, Jane, who's a ceramicist by trade, hand built like a ongi, this like
Okay.
fermentation vessel, which is really cool. So um, yeah, thinking about like all the different products and stuff we can create that like expand out and have like actual meaning to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's like it'd be cool to write a book featuring 280, doing that kind of stuff, talking about like the philosophy of growing grapes, making wine, urban viticulture, uh, wild species, hybrids, all that kind of stuff. And then, but the education just keeps getting better. The goal is to eventually, like, have, I guess we have a curriculum, but
Mm-hmm.
be kind of cool to have like a school book of some sort, or
Okay.
all that kind of stuff. Like, how do we get more tech savvy? And I would love to do work with like AR, VR, and get into that world of technology. And how does 280 have like even an app?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
That kind of weird stuff. So
Yeah. Some of those, yeah, they seem like maybe you could have, I guess, more people involved, or teach more people with it.
yeah,
Like people don't necessarily have to be maybe
yeah, because
on site. Like,
yep.
yeah, maybe if you could do a
It's funny because thinking
AR.
about the way the world is going right now and immigration and all this other stuff, people have applied to 280 from all over the world. And, the funding has been the hardest thing for us to solidify. The people keep applying, but it's been a little bit heartbreaking sometimes. Yeah, how do you get money to do good things in this world? But, if I could offer education to people that want to learn from abroad
Mm-hmm.
in other places, and I think about young kids, especially kids of color, being in like urban settings and being able to have like a headset and learn, how cool that would be. Because during the pandemic, I had the opportunity to do a series on gardening for like elderly and disabled people.
Okay.
And that was cool. I had like an entire like video collection that's still on YouTube of how to grow food at home.
Mm.
And yeah, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. It's like, so I already understand how to do it and educate in certain ways. Um, yeah, it's fun. But yeah, I think also evolving is like, how do we turn this into an incubator for the apprentices? Like the dream is to have a winery that we can allow people to make their wines,
Okay.
start their brands, help with the cost of permits, uh, help them build their vision of a brand that they want, help with product placement, all that kind of stuff, and mentorship. Because I think, it's fun to learn winemaking and viticulture, but how do you actually bring something to real life that people can then have? And then how far can it go around the world and tell a story? And I think that's a lot of the stuff that's lacking in wine right now is a lot of people are drinking the same things that don't really represent anything special. It gets kind of boring.
Mm-hmm. Is that a challenge right now, sort of maybe apprentices sort of next step after finishing the 280 project?
Yeah, I mean, also, so yeah, I don't have a lot of money, so I'm always working. I have like multiple jobs while doing this as well. I think that's also the part of like expanding this apprenticeship program, this nonprofit. Solidifying funds would mean we could hire other people, and I would love it to be apprentices that have already been a part of this,
Mm-hmm.
to have roles within this program to where we can become more dialed.
Yeah.
We've had people who have been in marketing PR. I would like to hire them to do that for our company. You know what I mean? We've had people that do fundraising outside of learning about grapes. How do we hire them to just do that full time? I think that's where it's like kind of hard to sometimes imagine how other organizations and businesses work, because I'm like, how do they get money?
Right.
Like, what are they, what's the secret to this? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like we're doing great with the lack of funds that we have. So I only imagine like how much better this organization would be if we could build the right team around us.
Yeah, just having that funding so you could kind of take it to the next level and be able to, I guess, kind of devote full time to it, and even have
That's
other
what I wanna
people
do.
devoting their full time
That's what I want to
to
do.
it.
I feel like if I could focus 100% on this, it would be, one of the biggest things in this industry, to help people. And I think, a lot of what I see in the wine industry and food and beverage isn't necessarily about helping people. It's about how do the people doing whatever got started make their margins.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel naive in this in any way, but I truly do want to just help people get to where they need to be. As long as I'm taken care of in a certain way, like I don't really need much more.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the beauty of watching this project really evolve to 5 years later is, so many people have always asked why I work so hard or why I do so much or why I say yes to so many interviews and different things. And like, am I protecting my peace and space? And I'm like, well, as a man of color, I don't know how long these opportunities will last, or, who's going to be able to be the one who gets the message out the right way that maybe somebody does want to fund this thing for a very long time or help us get to that next level. So I don't know. I never really think that hard about working hard. Plus I truly have found something that I like love doing.
Yeah.
I feel very lucky that I kind of stumbled upon, or I wouldn't even say I stumbled upon it, because I mean, I just sat there and like one day was sitting in a cellar at this horrible restaurant and, reading bottles and just thinking about white dudes owning land and thinking about black people not owning land and thinking about generational wealth and thinking about black people not having generational wealth. And it clicked.
Yeah.
And then it's like the universe brought me this vineyard and it clicked.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just keeps clicking. And I don't know, it's kind of amazing to be able to do, if I can make this like my lifelong work for a while, I would really enjoy just doing this. I love wine sales and everything else. But being outside and being in vineyards and making a product that people get to enjoy is seriously one of the funnest things in the world.
Yeah. I mean, it's can be a pretty amazing thing to look at look at that product you made with your own hands and
It's a good
help
sense of
from
pride.
friends. Yeah.
It's a good sense of pride, especially in an industry that doesn't look like you that often. Or you go into restaurants and people don't look like you, you know? And it's not about just being defiant, but I think it's about like everyone has like a sense of joy or accomplishment when they get to do things that they resonate with.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I've always been into plants, nature, always
Yeah.
been into creating and, you know, dreaming, visioning ever since I was a child. So this feels like it makes me feel like I've been on track, and I kind of like showing that to other people is like dream as big as you can and try as hard as you can. And, you know, if things work out, you're probably going to feel really good about your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you said earlier, just things have been, clicking with it, but that feels like it's been that hard work paying off. I mean,
Yeah, man.
things don't click on their own. It takes a lot of work, I think, to
Thank you.
get
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So
it is,
you
but
know.
it's weird. It's like, I don't know. It's also funny. Like certain people have asked, yeah, like I said, like why I work so hard. And it's like, cause no one's paying my bills for me.
Yeah.
No one's taking care of me. You know what I mean? Like, there's a level of responsibility. If you want to see something change in the world, you got to put your mind and your body to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what a lot of people suffer from is the lack of ability to just do it.
Right.
To just get it done. And, that's what I loved about working in service in restaurants is there's this thing that happens once you hit a certain flow and you realize that no one else is going to clean the table. No one else is going to pour that water. No one else is going to give the best hospitality. So it's like you get to be that person, and it somewhat becomes like a selfish addiction in a certain way, in a cool way. Like how good can you get something done?
Right.
And this apprenticeship is cool because I'm like, wow, like it's not a bad thing to be really good at helping others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, my friend Haley and I, we started this mutual aid collective during the pandemic too, called Feed the People Collective, Haley Garabato. She's an amazing chef, and we were just feeding people for a long time, man, completely free. And that was another one of those things that like kind of opened my mind to just, if you really want to do something and you have a vision and it's a good thing, like it can be so easy.
Yeah.
And the people that gravitate to it are going to usually be really amazing people. And then it just makes it even easier. And then it just snowballs.
Mm-hmm. What have been some of the, I guess probably funding, but what have been some of the bigger challenges in running the project?
I mean, honestly, I think funding's the biggest one. I mean, we literally have so much more of it dialed than I could even expect, with like, Rita was working a full-time job for a pretty big corporate company for a while doing this. I was working as a wine buyer for a long time, full-time, raising kids, doing other jobs while farming and doing everything else. And I think, for me, it's like just kind of finances and getting to that next step. I think once we are able to have money to pay for salaries, be able to like, secure a winemaking space, talk to growers about, potential deals on fruit, how can we get this done? Maybe there's wineries out there, companies that want to help with glass, other stuff like that. Yeah, I feel like we only need a little bit more to go way far. But other than that, time. I don't have a lot of time. I feel like I'm always busy, but I like being busy.
Yeah.
I'm really like, I don't know. I get restless, and it's something like even when I was a kid, man, I have a hard time sleeping sometimes because my mind's just racing. Even though I do like a lot of like vision boarding and like half meditating, I've kind of slipped off of it a little bit. But yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like being alive is about enjoying the time you have. And for me, it's like kind of watching stuff get done and being a part of it getting done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say there's too many challenges. I think there's been like so much positive response to what we're doing. And, you know, yeah, shout out Eric Asimov for writing the New York Times article. That was a really funny, what's challenging sometimes is hearing people's opinions on like what they think you're doing or how you got somewhere. When that article came out, a lot of older white people were like, you must have like great marketing and PR.
Okay.
And it's like, we don't have anybody that does any of that stuff. It's literally just hard work, and being in a community of people that want to share.
Mm-hmm.
That's the cool part is like from us starting this nonprofit and this program, we've really gotten to see how many people are genuine in this industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sick, dude. It feels cool. So, yeah, I feel very thankful because I feel like I now get to be who I really want to be in life.
Okay.
And I don't have to like hide or do anything like that. I feel like people like me for who I am.
Yeah. People are accepting of what you're doing. And
no matter how much money they make or where they live or who they are. Like, I feel like I genuinely get to meet people from all over the world. And whenever I travel, people know who I am in some weird way. And it's funny to do it around something like this,
How do you think the sort of, downturn or kind of turmoil in the wine industry affects what you're trying to do? I guess either for better or worse. Like, you think it opens up more opportunities, perhaps?
100%. Yeah, I think it's totally. I think I've been saying this forever. I just want to make wine coolers like my mom drank, but I want to make natural wine coolers. My friend Alejandro, he has an incredible label, and he's been down Central Valley making weird wines, and I've always been saying half bottles and natural wine, and no one's doing it. And I make them, but he's the only other person that I've really seen with natty half bottles.
Yeah.
And he sells them. And I think it's a brilliant idea. And it's cool, So for me, it's an opportunity right now for another wave of people to come through that truly care about it. They care about growing grapes. They care about making wine. They care about experimenting, not being pretentious, still offering a great product, still being hospitable to each other. And I think once restaurants get that through their minds too, we're going to see like a huge turnover, man, like a good thing.
Yeah.
And I think the way that a lot of my friends and colleagues are able to also resonate with consumers, I have a feeling that we can help shift wine back into a place where it's not just respected, but it's enjoyable. Yeah, right now I don't think wine's enjoyable for a lot of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that goes back to the wine coolers and small
I think,
bottles.
Yeah, well, I think it's like you can just make it a little bit more approachable. It can still be serious. Like I have these wines. We're at Friend of a Friend right now, my wine shop, and I'm looking at Alejandro's bottles, and like every single one of those wines are incredible, and they should be taken seriously. The packaging is cool. It's not like cartoonish or anything. It's well thought out. Like his descriptions on the back are beautiful, and it's just reimagining, like, how do you want to be represented? It doesn't have to be a label with like a weird villa or, crazy fancy writing on it, or, something that makes people afraid to try it because it's too expensive either.
Yeah. I guess just because we're on the subject of Alejandro and his wines, any interest in doing like other like fruits, herbs?
Yeah, man. I mean, so last year with the apprenticeship, we made a cider at Alemany on site. I brought a juicer. I brought a carboy. And we made a cider from apples grown on the property. We added mugwort. We added rose geranium. We added quince, a little bit of Islaus Creek cherry leaves, and I think that might be it. But yeah, So I like making weird co-ferments. The goal, like if I had that winery, I would love to also make an upcycled fruit wine program, where we make weird things that can either be turned into sherries, other stuff like that, you know,
Yeah.
just experiment. Cause I've had the opportunity of being around some really incredible bartender friends as well that
Okay.
are into spirits and distillation. And my friend Nick Torres and a woman named Aleka, they were able to get me down to New Orleans last year for Tales of the Cocktail,
Oh,
and
nice.
seeing that part of the industry um, was so cool because I want to make other types of beverages that can be like grape based or
Yeah.
or plum based or
Yeah.
anything. You know, there's just
Yeah.
so much going around that. And same thing, like if wine spoils, you should give it to a friend that knows how to distill.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's fun. I think there's just so much in front of us that you can ferment and try. And I feel like it, for me, goes back to like what our ancestors were already doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a huge part of what I want to do with like North American grapes too. Also, like wild species stuff is just thinking about Black people being like forced to this land, the indigenous people that were already here kicked off their land, but what were they engaging with in the wild? What were they
Mm-hmm.
eating? What were
Mm-hmm.
they making? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's kind of interesting to think, you know, old Black people in the South, if you look at like weird cookbooks and stuff, a lot of them have like wine recipes in them,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, and be kind of cool to like do weird historic wines like that and yeah, but put them in half bottles
Yeah.
and make them cool, you know?
Yeah. The cocktail thing you brought up, I thought was interesting because the citrus wine that Alejandro had specifically, I was like, oh, this would be super cool as like a Negroni
Oh, yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
cool.
go really well in that, or give other pairing options, or like something different than maybe just a standalone
Yeah,
natural
my
wine.
friend Bella, she wanted to make a cider last year that was tomato basil. And yeah,
okay.
so we made that, and then, you know, it kind of turned sherry-ish, but it's really pretty. So
Yeah.
I think that would be kind of interesting to see how that would go in martini.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think all of those fruit wines could be used as spritzes and other things like that. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's fun. There's prickly pear. There's all kinds of weird stuff that's growing here.
Yeah, that's one thing about Northern California. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that grows here and
Mhm.
grows pretty well here.
Lots of
Like,
flowers,
you know,
lots of
yeah.
other things that are like herbs. And yeah, like you were saying, like there's a man named Peter Jacobson that I've been, you know, hopefully one day I'll get around to it, being too busy. But yeah, if we get some land one day, he grows a lot of stuff for Thomas Keller at French Laundry.
Okay.
But he's been wanting to give me like a collection of herbs and edible flowers and fruit trees for years. And, you know, I would love to be able to offer that to the wine industry for weird infusions. And there's a woman, I'm forgetting her name, but she goes by like Mas Divino. But she did a collab with like Wonderworks or someone like a few years ago where they had a red wine and like it was pretty high in VA.
Okay.
But then they used like a rose geranium tincture and that kind of helped it out a lot.
Okay.
You know, so it's kind of interesting thinking about herbs, distillates, other weird things is like maybe not masking, but like medicine for certain wines.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
like the mugwort and the cider that we made, I feel like kind of might be like a dream wine, something weird like that,
Mhm.
manifestation wine. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Something, I guess, yeah, kind of, I mean, it's all about balance a lot in wine. So something
Well,
that can maybe balance out
it's weird. It's
the
like
VA or
also
something.
we made that wine and it was, you know, not in a cellar or anything. We still probably used everything clean in a way that like wouldn't like bring flaws. But I wonder if you know, the rose geranium or Islayas Creek cherry leaves, like I wonder if any of those things had like antimicrobial properties. Because Eric from New York Times tried it, and you know, we bottled it. It went through fermentation within like a week.
Okay.
And then bottled it like the next week. And then Eric tried it like the week after that. And it was never mousy, never
Okay.
crazy.
Yeah.
And I wonder why. I wonder if like any of those those other like things helped stop that from happening,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Alternatives to sulfur and
Mm-hmm.
things like that.
Exactly. Preservatives,
Keep it
possibly.
stable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh, very. Yeah.
So if anybody knows, maybe.
Yeah. Like Chris Snow. um, yeah. I mean, well, we were just mentioning some of the wines in your shop here, but uh, what's the background of the shop? Like, why why did you decide to start it? I guess like what's it give you?
I mean, I've always wanted to have my own business, and I think that's like another one of those things, man. Just hard work. It finally came to me, and I will honestly say I thank Matt Neese for being my friend because I was called by a woman to do an interview on Matt Neese, and then we talked for like 2 hours. And after that conversation, she hit me up with an email days later that was like so long that I couldn't read it at the time.
Mm.
And then when I finally read it, she asked if I would be interested in her investing in my dreams. And then,
Wow.
yeah, from there, it all happened.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, friend of a friend kind of came about from, yeah, just kind people,
Nice.
good people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I try and do with this space is offer it to people that need a place for events. Use wine education as a positive thing, not something that makes people feel criticized or critiqued or judged.
Mm.
Yeah, I try to make it fun, not stuffy, but still be able to educate people if they want to take it serious. All the wines are delicious. Everything's organic, biodynamic, regenerative. But yeah, everything has to taste good. And
Yeah. I mean, the selection's great, and I've seen postings about some of the events and things like you've had here. I mean, it seems like it's a real part of the community too, because I see you nodding to like half the people that walk walk past the window.
Yeah,
here,
it's fun.
And, I mean,
it's fun to know everybody in the neighborhood after only a year. And yeah, I want to be like an old man behind the desk one day, wearing like a cardigan.
Yeah.
Just tiny, wearing glasses and wave at people and get kids that were, babies in the neighborhood. Maybe their wine selections for their weddings and, college graduations and, their parents' like 70th birthdays and
Right.
yeah.
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 Be that guy.
Yeah, it'd be cool to be. Yeah, there's a dude next door named Luciano who owns Grafeo. Yeah, I think he's been there for 50 years or something weird like that, which is crazy because he just sold the business and he still works there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's worked there, I think, like 6 days a week for that entire time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's so nuts, man. And he also had the craziest collection of wine under that place. He had like 4,000 bottles. And I met him like 6 months too late. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But he did give me what was it? Like a Mount Veeder cab from 1975 that I shared with some friends. So like natural wine from the 70s.
Yeah.
That was amazing still. It was incredible. No sulfur. Just
wow.
Yeah, like a 00 cab from 1975. It was wild, man. Probably one of the best wines I've tasted in a long time.
Yeah. Man, yeah, there weren't too many of those out. I mean, on a commercial scale, but I guess it's kind of the old Italian man style of making wine, though. And since we're in North Beach here,
yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and I've tried some of the wines from folks that have gone through your apprentice program, and I mean,
oh yeah,
people are making some really cool wines. I mean, I had Sabrina on podcast, I guess maybe a year and a half ago.
Sabrina's amazing.
Like great wines, and I know there's a few other folks also. Must be cool to see folks kind of going out there and like spreading their wings and
yeah, I mean that's the whole goal. I think Yeah, I hope nobody ever thinks that I'm not trying to be too involved in other people's like lives, you know. But I just want to create space so they can figure out what they want to do, and then
Mm-hmm.
they can do what they want to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's cool. I'm always there for questions or to be a mentor or anything, but I think it's also dope just to inspire people to want to do their own thing,
Yeah.
you know, and who knows what that is. Um, yeah, it's cool watching people be interested in making wine, and then they make wine, and then you taste their wine and you're mind blown. And you're like, wow, that's like really good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the funnest part about wine,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah, it's really awesome to just share bottles with each other and be like, damn, like I like that better than wine that I make. Or, you know what I mean? Like, or that's just different. And yeah, it's really cool. It's always fun to be impressed by what your friends are doing,
Yeah.
especially if you get to drink it or eat it and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You have anything you want to talk about? I mean,
What do I want to talk about? Uh, just trying to get better at life all the time.
yeah.
Just always trying to like regroup, stay focused. I really like being in San Francisco. Feel very thankful that life brought me here. I've gotten to meet some of the best people I've ever met in my life, and I hope to stay here forever, you know? But no, man, I try and wake up happy every day, thankful for what I have. Life's not always easy, but as long as I wake up, I feel very motivated. So
Yeah.
it's pretty simple. Got a really good group of friends around me. Feel like opportunities are coming to me all the time. So if I just keep focused and staying on that right path, I think I'll have a pretty good run at life. And yeah, feel very thankful just watching kids grow up and people being healthy. And yeah, not much more than that, man.
Yeah.
Just really happy to be doing what I'm doing.
What can people do to support what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, there's numbers of ways. I think, you know, like I said, financially, I think that's like the biggest thing. If you know fundraising or know funders that want to donate to our nonprofit, I think that's important. If you know anyone who potentially has land, vineyard land, not too far away, that would want us to maybe work on that land, that's always good. Yeah, if you guys know anybody that's good at brand partnerships, I say that all the time, but like, yeah, if you know anybody within Apple, Meta, AR, VR spaces, things like that, tech companies, app developers, feel like, yeah, feel like I just want people to help in the ways that they think they can also. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's what 280 was in the beginning, is like, I know how to do this, and same with Feed the People. Haley knew how to cook. I knew how to do front of house service. So we just kind of help people with what we have. And I think if everybody in the community and the world did that for each other, you'd have a way cooler world.
Yeah. Just bring your skills to the party, sort of.
Man, that's it. I think, yeah, just make it a potluck of your skills, and we'd have a pretty full table, full plate, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody at the end of the day knows what they have to offer. So
Yeah.
I think people need to get better at offering what they already have rather than thinking too hard about it.
Okay.
Oh, man, I'm trying to travel. That's one thing I do want to talk about.
Yeah.
Anybody knows how to get me around the world more, which I think also takes money, or flight miles or something like that. But yeah, I really want to travel more, especially for viticulture and just life experience. Yeah, I haven't left the country since I was a kid.
Okay.
That's been kind of like weird because I watch everybody jet setting and doing stuff, and most of the time I kind of get on an airplane, red eye, come back the same day or next day. But that would be kind of cool. I'd like to go to Japan.
Okay.
I'd love to go to Mexico. France would be cool. Not really that focused on France. I'd love to go back to Germany and see Germany, like where I grew up.
Okay.
Trying to think. Yeah, there's a bunch of weird like grape regions around the world that I think I would really be interested in seeing, and I just want to see how other communities treat each other too. Like, how do other governments work, and how do they support their local people in education and healthcare, and you know, how does that create a hospitality or food system that then also resonates from that. Because I feel like they must have cool food in places that treat people right,
Mm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, which seems simple.
Does seem simple, but straightforward thing
Yeah.
on the surface.
Yeah. I guess one other thing that I think is I feel lucky to be in San Francisco because it, to me, has like everything we need to kind of show people in America what a city could look like if people got back to really hanging out with each other
Mm.
and really seeing each other for the good things rather than judging each other and, you know, looking for negative parts of people and being upset about each other's situations. Lately, I've been, you know, looking at people doing drugs and unhoused folks and just trying to have more empathy and being, you know, I can't put myself in their shoes all the time, but like I can definitely think that most people probably wouldn't want a hard life, you know?
Right.
And I think about how much further can I take that thinking of understanding in my friendships and relationships. And, you know, everyone's different and not always taking everything to heart in a way that it like harms you or makes you feel bad or
Mm.
upset at someone, but like people are allowed to be who they are and you're allowed to be who you are. And, you know, I think that's what I'm trying to do as I get older is just focus on, you know, what I can control and how I can help. And then not trying to judge too much.
Mm-hmm.
I think that takes too much energy. It's something that I really want to get away from is like just being more in the moment.
Yeah, I love the Bay Area, and I mean, I've lived here my entire life, but yeah, it's not always the easiest place with prices and things like that. And you do have higher than average amount of like unhoused people, and it's as beautiful as it is, it could be like a tough place under the surface.
It is. And that's the part that I think, you know, really motivates me is if I get these opportunities to be on podcasts or to be able to speak in public, I really hope that I get to inspire people to want to do more with their abilities and their time,
Mm-hmm.
even their money. You know, I think we have so many wealthy people in this city that a few people could probably make some really big impact. And, you know, I think a lot
Yeah.
of people are afraid to think that far, or I don't even know if it's about money sometimes, you know, but I wish that I had millions of dollars, $1 billion to be able to do positive things. Because I feel like you'd see really fast positive reactions to it, especially around like something like housing
Mm-hmm.
or education or transportation. Just, yeah, people don't need that much,
Right.
you know. I think that's what I notice is like people don't need that much. But once they have what they need, then people become less stressed, more able to, you know, really appreciate their time with others.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of where we're a little distracted right now. It's like people are so individualistic that a lot of time goes by in life and then they wake up to being like without a community, without good friend groups, you know?
Yeah, I think sometimes just a small gesture can
Mm-hmm.
go a long way. You know, some people just need like that first like little help onto their feet, and it can go a really long ways. But sometimes it's just that little boost
Yeah,
kind of
man.
gets it started.
Everybody needs it. You know what I mean? I think if you come from family with money or good financial guidance, things like that, all the better. But, you know, for the most part, I don't think many people are going to go out there and mess around with the money and things in life.
Mm-hmm.
But, or free education, you know,
Right.
I think. But it's also cool to like learn whatever you want to learn. I think that's what's really amazing about seeing a program like City College in San Francisco. You
Mm-hmm.
can like learn until you've learned what you really want to do, which doesn't make for a bad situation because then you're more of a well-rounded person. You know?
Right.
Yeah. No secret questions?
No, I mean,
What's my favorite varietal? Or I'm just joking. I love that. I don't really have one.
Like them all.
Uh, I mean, there are others that I prefer more than
Yeah.
others, but yeah, no, I appreciate all wine. I think it makes you, yeah, it's similar to people, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to
Yeah.
love them all, but you can at least try and appreciate them.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of meet it where
Yeah,
meet them or the grape where it is,
exactly. Yeah, it's definitely winemaking styles that I'm not into, certain regions that I'm not into, but every now and then you get one of those things that changes your mind, and you're like, wow, maybe I
Yeah.
shouldn't, maybe I shouldn't be a hater,
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure owning a shop, you probably taste more than the average person. And is there anything that has been exciting you with wine styles recently?
Mm,
Or not as recently is okay too.
nah, I mean, I love wines from the Jura,
Mm-hmm.
but I honestly, I just love meeting small wine producers that come in,
Yeah.
people that are just starting their brands. I love tasting wine year after year from people that are getting started and watching them get better.
Yeah.
That's always cool to me. I
Yeah.
think you like Alejandro again, man, like tasting his wines. I'm like, I can't wait to see where that guy is in like 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy. I bet they're gonna be insane.
Yeah.
Same with Matt Neese, Matt's hybrids just keep getting better.
Mm-hmm.
I love all the stuff people are doing on the East Coast, especially with hybrids. It's cool to visit my family in Texas and taste weird wines that are not supposed to be good to most people, but strawberry and Mustang grapes and weird things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like seeing people go for it and not feeling bad about it. Just make what you want to make.
Yeah. I mean, Texas, it's always been a pretty hotbed area for hybrids and Munson and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, TV. Be cool to like see a Texas TV Munson like wine making challenge. Like who can make the best wines from grapes that he developed.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I would love to go to that and just see all the different styles. Solera, TV Solera, stuff like that.
At the Rutherford Vineyard, is there any chance of planting anything there?
I have no idea. I'm not going to try and mess that connection up just yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who knows though? Maybe one day. But there is a spot in Napa that's like a Napa community garden that's completely barren. And I would love to take that spot and turn that into like the hybrid vineyard.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like a dilapidated garden that was there. That's just empty.
Seems like it'd be a cool, good opportunity. I mean,
I like I said,
hybrids.
I can only do so much.
Yeah.
But I guarantee if I were to convince the city of Napa, then I'm probably sure I can convince a consulting company or someone to help me put in irrigation for cheap or free.
Yeah.
If there's not already irrigation because it was a garden.
Yeah. Yeah, it might already be something.
And then I'm sure I could get, hybrids from Davis. And then I'm sure it would be pretty easy to just have a hybrid vineyard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally just sitting there. I don't know what they're planning on doing with it, but if anybody, same thing, if you hear this and you want to help contact Napa, the city, county of Napa on the behalf of 280 Project and ask about that, go right ahead. That's how we can all help. Just do the things. Yeah.
Yeah. I know you started a new apprentice program just recently. How's that been going so far? It's what, a month in or so, or?
Oh man, we've had 2 visits.
Okay.
It's been incredible though. It's amazing getting to meet all the people that I feel like every year. It's amazing because you just get to meet people that genuinely are interested, and I don't know, I'm surprised by it every year. The people that I haven't met yet, and or the people that I know that apply to the program. That's always crazy. I wish that I had more funding because I wish I could accept more people into the program.
Okay.
But yeah, everybody's sweet. It's super cute. It feels awesome for Steve to meet everybody. I love when everybody gets to meet Steve and they get to meet Beth and they get to meet Rita and I. And I feel like over 6 to 7 months, a true bond gets created. And it's always cool to watch the apprentices get to know each other. I feel like that's like one of the coolest parts is people become real friends and allies and share resources. And yeah, I don't know. It'd be cool one day to like, maybe after this year, I should do like a 5-year meetup or something.
Oh, yeah.
Something cool like that. Anybody who's making wine, bring their wine. Anybody who's doing something in wine, talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Something cool like that.
Yeah.
5-year dinner.
Yeah, get some new like connections formed across the years.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's cool. It's like it's the craziest, most surreal experience thinking that 5 years have flown by like that. Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's really cool. So how many people have gone through it so far? Approx.
Probably like 30 or something. Yeah. Because it's usually like 8 people a year or something like that. Yeah. Sometimes people have to drop out just because of life things, but you know, it's cool. It feels really cool. Sorry, my phone's doing things now.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah, it feels amazing, man. I feel, just got the best text message. Life's good. Yeah, dude. That's like, honestly, I just want to keep saying this, but like if we can figure out funding, we can help more people, which I feel like would then be able to help the wine industry in a lot of ways. Because there's something different about people just wanting to be joyful and not just being fully pretentious about something. It's crazy, dude. When I get to go to New York for like ABV and seeing other POC people or just POC and white friends and everybody in SF and like Napa, the ones that aren't weird and bad weird, I mean, not good weird. There's a real feeling of love and happiness and joy. And I don't know if people understand what that looks like.
Okay.
You know, it's dope, dude. It's crazy to like see people want to see the best for each other. And it doesn't always take money, but for the dreams that I have, it does take a little bit of money just to help people, like you said, a little bump to get started.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do. I want to pay for people's permits. I want to pay for the travel, the education. I think that's a responsibility that we should all kind of have for each other, is like empowering our community to be the best it can. You know? So I really, like I said, I feel very fortunate to have that thinking, that thought process, kind of that vision of wanting to do something like that.
Yeah.
And it's happening, you know? Yeah, like just seeing friends get careers in wine after being in this program is mind-blowing.
I bet. Yeah. Must feel really cool to see.
It is.
It really, you know.
The amount of people that have just come up to me and said that they're proud and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like that's a wild one where I'm just like, wow, like, thanks. Like what you're doing is cool.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm wearing this like Lolo wine bar shirt from Austin, Texas. My friends were just down there for a pop-up and, you know, I got a cool message because Evan Lewandowski was down there doing a pop-up at Lolo. And then, yeah, I don't know. It was cool just to hear from a friend being like, dude, people know you all over the place.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm thankful that it's because of just doing something focused around grapes, which is pretty dope.
For sure.
It's weird.
Yeah.
it's good weird.
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, it's really cool too. Like all those people are able to, you know, hopefully pass it on and help other people also, you know. So
that's what I'm seeing, man.
Growing.
I'm seeing everyone that I've been able to come in contact with, and it's not me, you know what I mean? But I think genuinely the universe has brought me around other people that have that same kind of philosophy of helping each other and community care and activism. It's incredible just watching people building and doing awesome things for each other. Yeah. And I honestly feel like, you know, we may be in a weird time right now with our political stuff going on in America, but I have a feeling, man, there are people that have been working for a while now that are going to help shift certain things. And food and beverage are a great place to be in to watch it shift.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has to eat. Drinking can be cool if you don't take it too far. But these are all things that can be community centered,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's weird, you know? It's like tech is, you know, I feel like isolating, and there's so many other careers where they're isolating, but like
Mm-hmm.
this one, I hope people realize how powerful their jobs are, that they get to interact with people every night and get to talk to people and recommend things that they like
Yeah.
and use their own verbiage and have their own style. And, you know, yeah, I really want to see a shift back in our country where people that work in service industry can buy a home by working in restaurants or wine. You know,
Yeah.
that's something I was talking with a friend, my friend Sunny Angelo, the other day. I was telling her that that's something that I would love, is like an incubator or some kind of fund to help service industry really stay in this city, and like have like a program or a lottery where they can buy condos and be able to stay here. Cause I
Yeah.
think it's a beneficial like career, because everybody else that's working in careers outside of this, they need service people.
Yeah.
They need winemakers. They need other people to want to do things that they don't do while they're busy at work all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's all part of like this ecosystem, this web. And people, you know, sadly look at money as like the end all be all, but it's, I mean, we can use it as a tool to help each other rather than like use it against each other.
Yeah. And it's tough to remove a member or a set of members from a community like that without affecting everything else. So being able to have,
Damn, dude.
service people stay in the area and be parts of that community.
That's
Yeah.
funny. Okay, so you just said that, and I've been thinking about this weird stuff for a while, but like I wanted to make a shirt that said like Black people are a key species, but I think that service workers are a key species.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you really think about the city as an ecosystem, it's like if service workers aren't there, then who's gonna cook your food? Who's gonna bring your food to you? Who's gonna, we don't have the infrastructure right now for everything to be like robot sushi.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't really want robot sushi.
No,
either.
you know what I mean? Kids love it.
Yeah.
My 7-year-old loves it.
Yeah.
But she doesn't understand that it's like, nah, man, someone needs a job. Or, you know what I mean? Like, or they don't get to pay their rent, sadly. Yeah. If we change that, then maybe that'd be cool. But, but it's like one of those things that if service industry people are taken out, and that's like hotel workers, everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the way to like BART drivers and things like that, and Muni drivers, and what happens? Where do they end up?
Yeah.
You know, like how do they pay their bills? And also, who are you interacting with on a daily basis? Like, I think it's important to like have a connection with the people at your local water hole, at your local, food spot. Talk to the bus drivers.
Yeah.
Talk to random people in your neighborhood. Like, I don't know. Every time I ask people what they do and they say that it's tech and they kind of shy away, I try to engage them and be like, no, tell me more about like what you do in tech.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe I find it fascinating. Like, you don't know why I'm asking. Like, I'm not judging, but yeah, I think we're on the way to being back to people being inquisitive and wanting to see each other. It's kind of like vintage.
Yeah, hope so. It's good to interact with your community and learn from each other.
It is. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, it's cool seeing kids do it. It's weird that adults kind of don't do it all the time. Like, it's like pretending you're shy.
Yeah.
But maybe some people are,
Yeah, I guess to a certain extent, everybody kind of has their own thing going on a little bit, and it's maybe easier to not interact. At least for me, it's easier to not interact.
I mean, it's also hard, with technology and phones and distractions, and I think the fear of rejection is something that probably scares everybody at some point. But once you learn it enough, it becomes kind of a superpower. Once you're able to like just accept it,
yeah,
there's nothing that could scare you more than, someone saying no. And then it's not a forever no. If you ask someone else, they might say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's weird. I think luckily I grew up moving around so much and having
Okay.
to talk to so many people as a young person that I just developed the ability to be able to talk and be able to communicate.
Yeah.
And I still even want to be better at it. Like I'm always thinking about how my thought process, how I want it to be more dialed and the questions that I think about and all kinds of stuff,
Yeah.
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 How do I present myself to others, and how does that impact that meeting of the minds and stuff? What were you gonna say though?
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. So you must have been, I guess, good at making friends and talking with new people then as a child, or at least breaking the ice, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, parts of that were from just being like lonely and being bullied and
Okay.
weird stuff like that. I grew up in Germany, so it was like same thing, being a black kid in like German villages and not always speaking the language.
Mm.
You just have to learn how to like communicate with people without language or broken language, or you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, there's like so much common stuff between all of us that I don't know, there really aren't that many excuses. It's up to you if you want to do it. I think about it all the time being in the wine industry, like how if I really was scared, I wouldn't be able to do much because it can be a very stuffy kind of place. But at this point, I really feel like I'm not trying to extract anything from anyone. I just want to get to know people. And I feel like the more people I know, the more cool interactions I have. So I like to offer that to people too. So at this point, I feel really excited to be up in Napa, Sonoma all the time, even if they don't always feel like the most comforting places. I also feel like I deserve to be there.
Yeah.
I used to not feel that way.
Okay.
Sometimes I still get imposter syndrome, but I've been in so many beautiful wineries now that it doesn't make sense. Right. Yeah, it's nuts, man. It's kind of crazy. The amount of stuff that I've seen just from doing this, it's like, I really want to offer that to like young kids, young black kids, young queer kids, all the people. I feel like once people get to see shit, they end up just gives you a different perspective in life. And then it's possible. So,
yeah. That might be a pretty good way to wrap up. It was pretty good at the end.
Bam. That's awesome.
I'll see. I mean,
no, I got nothing.
Thanks for listening today. Christopher has been inspiring people for years and is doing something so cool and unique with the 280 project. It's helping to diversify the wine industry and bringing in new talent and perspectives. If you're ever in San Francisco, you should stop by his shop right next to Washington Square Park in North Beach. You can learn more about the 280 Project at 280project.com or follow them on Instagram at 280 Project. You can follow the podcast on wherever you're listening and the Instagram at Indie Wine Podcast. And feel free to email indiewinepodcast@gmail.com with comments, questions, or feedback. If you're enjoying the podcast, I'd love it if you told a friend or wine lover about it and help spread the word. Rating, reviewing, or donating at patreon.com/indiewinepodcast helps too. It all goes to offsetting podcast expenses like gas money, podcast hosting, research websites, and books, and allows for more episodes. We'll be back soon with another episode. Have a good one.